Hello, it's Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo for another Let's Pew Pew, a Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous production. And today we're going to be talking about the Anvil Aerospace T8 Gladiator one more time. Now, we've done a review of it when it first hit the hangar. We did a tentative or a follow-up review of it last week on episode 70 of Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. And today we're going to come in and we're going to do a flight test. Let's compare first the exteriors. There is one of the most maneuverable and heavily armed ships in the game. That is the Anvil Aerospace F-7CM Super Hornet. And here is probably the most deadly ship, single seat, or I should say dual seat fighter in the game, to something the size of a Retaliator or a Constellation or possibly a Vanguard, and like frigates. This is the T8 Gladiator, and it is a torpedo bomber and a dive bomber. It's an amazing spacecraft. It's fitted with the two size 3 weapons slots on the wings and holds up to 12 missiles. Let's pull down the pilot seat, get inside, and take a look real fast, and then we'll drop back down again and look inside the torpedo bay. So as we're looking forward, we can see the Gladius, which is the light fighter. The heavy fighter is behind us. The Hornet, which is, well, probably medium fighter. And we are in the bomber. So let's go down and let's talk a little bit about the torpedoes that are in here. So as we walk around the ship again, here we have the torpedoes. And this is what this baby is all about, this torpedo bay. And these size 5 missiles, aka torpedoes, are going to deal tremendous damage to a ship if they all hit, possibly taking it down. More or less likely it will, well, more likely it will damage it beyond repair and scuttle it if you can have a couple of the Gladiators hit with all 4 missiles. All right, so let's get over to the holo table and take a look at how to arm this baby for a Vandal swarm. Because it's not really a fighter, though I've seen some people do some amazing work inside of it as such. But if you're going to use it in Vandal swarm, let's give you an idea of what to do to make it easier for you to use. Here we are at the holo table. We're going to take the Gladiator and put it down. We're going to talk about what to do with the two size 3s. Now, currently they have M3As, and M4As, and I'm not too happy with those. I like these repeaters better, and these are the Panthers, the CF-217s. You also have missiles, and you have a lot of them, and the stock missiles on all the spacecraft tend to be okay. They're not great. They're not going to hit all the time. They're not going to kill things all the time, but they're okay, and they're free, right? But if you make enough wreck, you can go out and you can get some Rattler 2s. And Rattler 2s are amazing missiles, and they hit with a little bit better accuracy than the standard missiles that this comes with. But they break into many parts, and all those different little missilets, I guess you want to call them, will just ram right into the spacecraft and destroy it. All right, so that's it. And I think that's all you have to do is just upgrade weapons and missiles. Let's go on to the flight test, and here we are. Now, I've said this before, it's very difficult to explain the flight model of this spacecraft because it flies more like a truck on wet ground, or like I said in the past, a brick in water. It's beautiful, though there are some graphical glitches here. Torpedo bay left open and landing gear down. It's a beautiful ship. I really like the look of it. I think its role is more or less like the Y-wing fighter in Star Wars, or a combination of 2 fighters from the U.S. inventory, one from World War II, the TBF Avenger, and one from the Vietnam to 1990s era, the A6 Intruder. It's got that look, especially with the great paint job that they have on it. It looks like an Intruder. But I guess what they were looking for was something like the Avenger, because Chris really is stuck on the World War II analogy of these spacecraft. And when you look at the futuristic spacecraft with the retro type designs and systems inside, you can see that it is probably more or less what he's going for. All right, so something to note is that although the ship is able to move its nose off center really quick, it takes a really long time for the velocity vector to catch up with the ship on its own. And that could be a deadly situation for you. What I mean by that is just consider somebody's chasing your tail. Now, if you're in a more maneuverable fighter, like a Gladius, as you're turning the nose, it's light enough and it's got strong enough engines that the nose is going to come around and the velocity vector is going to change at the same time. But something as heavily as the Gladiator and as underpowered as a Gladiator is going to move more like a battleship in the ocean. It's going to start to turn its rudder, and it's going to take a long time for that ship, for that spacecraft to come about and start actually moving in the direction it's pointed in. And you can see that with the velocity that's being shown on my heads-up display. And the way I'm going to explain that is this. The velocity that's displayed is in relationship to where the nose is pointed. So right now, it shows that I'm going 190 meters a second straight. But as I move the nose, and you'll see that in just a few seconds, you can see the velocity sometimes could go down to 0. All right, and we'll talk about that when it happens. And I was just showing the fuel indicator there. You're going to go through a lot of fuel for your different maneuvering thrusters in the ship as you try to boost the maneuvering jets to keep you on target. I'm also showing that the turret is able to move inside. I guess those of you with something like Track IR can use it to look off center and hopefully target the spacecraft as they're moving away from you. That would be real cool if they could model that in the game. All right, so we're going to move in. We're going to try to get a couple of kills here in the first 3 waves. We're already on wave 2. On wave 4 and 5 and 6, we're going to try to die as quickly as we can, or wave 4 and 5, because I'm going to try to give you an idea of the durability that this ship has and the damage model that this ship has. So the first 3 waves are going to be showing the flight model, and the next 3 or 2 waves are going to be showing the durability. So one thing to note about this is that there are many spacecraft in the game already that have multiple weapon systems. You could look at the Mustang. You could look at something like the Super Hornet and the Cutlass. You could look at items like, spacecraft like the Origin Jump Works, name whatever ship you want to. And a lot of times you're going to have 2 different pippers for the 2 different weapon systems that you have, because you'll have a slower firing, maybe something like a ballistic cannon, or you'll have something that's really fast firing or has a very high speed projectile like the mass driver, along with your lasers, and each one has a different pinpoint. When you put on the CF-217s like I have and the CF-007s, the thing is, it creates one pipper, one look at the target, and it is highly accurate and saturating the target with a lot of lasers, and it takes out pretty quickly. I'm very happy with the way that they put the weapons on this ship and how they have them set up and how they have the weapons converge. But I'm also happy with using the 2 lasers, the CF-07s and the CF-217s, because they do share one common constantly computed impact point pipper. Now, you might be using the lead pipper. I use the lag pipper because I tend to find it a little bit more accurate for me. And I know that in one of my videos I said that I was using the lead, and I got used to it very well. I was doing the Mustang Beta at the time. Ever since then, it seems like something's changed. I don't get the reticle the way I used to over the target. I get a little tiny dot that's hard to see. And with this, I find that I am exceedingly happy with the way that the lag pipper has been working lately. So we've been through the first 2 waves already. Let's get moving. And I think I'm headed in the wrong direction here for a reason. I want to turn in on them and just show you how long it takes the velocity vector to come around. I think it's something like 8 or 9 seconds. It's just not right. All right, we're going to use one of our missiles, and we're going to fire off some flares there. And there goes our missile as he finishes out his skid. And we're going to see if we can take out the Little King. Yes, we can. Those rattlers connected and destroyed Little King. Now it's just cleaning up the rest of these guys as quickly as we can so we can get right into the next part of this flight test, which is going to be durability. So as far as maneuverability goes, this ship gets a solid D. Durability, I'm going to give this ship a solid B+. I think it is a highly durable, maybe even a B, an A-. And as far as fun to fly, it's a solid A. I think that this is one of the most fun ships to fly at this point. As long as you remember just this, don't go it alone. This ship isn't made to be a dogfighter. It's not supposed to take on the Vandal fighters, not the Scythes or the Glaives. It's really meant to take out the lighter ships like a frigate or a corvette or something like a Gladiator, a Retaliator, a Constellation, or a Vanguard. That's what this is made to take out. Less maneuverable, bigger ships. And it carries enough ordnance to take them out rather quickly, too. I think that when you do play with this ship, you always want to do it in a group of 3 or more ships. And 2 of them better be Super Hornets, and 1 of them could be a Gladius, and 1 of them could be a Gladiator. I think that makes a very good group. Gladius flies in, breaks up the pack. The 2 Super Hornets pick off the different ships one by one, and the Gladiator comes in and from afar just launches missiles and takes out whatever they can. Now, in Vandal Swarm, I think that you can go in with 2 Gladiators and 2 of the Super Hornets, but I really do like the mix I talked about. So a couple of things that we're going to be looking for in the 4th and 5th and 6th waves is going to be durability, shield strength, and survivability. Like, can I still fight after I've taken a boatload of damage? So I'm going to try to set myself up to get hurt a couple of times here. And I will tell you that a couple of times I get pissed and just start firing myself again, firing on the ships and taking a couple out, forgetting what my intentions were. There it is. That damage model just looks incredible. I think what happened there is we got hit by the neutron and the plasma cannons one by one. And that's why you saw the gold and everything light up. I mean, it just melted the metal. It was just amazing. We're going to see that a couple more times. That's not exactly what I expected. I didn't expect the ship to disintegrate below me, and I don't think that they're taking armor into consideration at this time when we're fighting in the game. I think armor is going to be something that comes into play a little bit later. Well, that cost me 1 wingman, and I'm down to 1. And we're in 4, so I'm going to try to even the score a little bit with a couple of missiles here. And these missiles do tend to take out the ships very well. Let's see if they do here. There's 1 killed. There's another killed. Well, not another killed, but it took a lot of damage. And here's one of the things that we're talking about constantly in this ship when I fly it, and it's how slow to change the velocity vector is. 1,000, 2, 1,000. See? It takes a while. And you are, like I said, going to go through a lot of boost fuel. So at some point in the near future, we're going to get all of your allied units have been destroyed. And then it's going to be all on Nikki time. And I think that comes right after we kill the last 2 ships in wave 4. There we go. And we should have 2 more ships here now. There we go. That's the one that we want. And I think we could just fire on him. We have the accuracy. Yep, we do. Highly accurate, like I said. Wonderful ship to fire on your enemy. I can't wait to see the newer guns that they release later on. We're not done with the weapons yet, folks. There are going to be more guns that are added to the game as time goes on. All right, look at it. Yeah, I always get this feeling when you're flying from the inside. So I'm on the outside firing. And it was that does it really look like that? And it's that because at times how it's firing at things, especially when they're below you, and look at the firing arc right now. It looks like an X-Wing. It's so cool. If you've ever played X-Wing versus TIE Fighter or X-Wing Alliance, it just looks like X-Wing. And that's something that's really on my mind after seeing that Force Awakens trailer. Just going to be an amazing movie, I know. All right, so we are done with Wave 4 and we're on Wave 5, okay? So now it's time to try to get hurt to try to show you the damage model of this ship. And it won't be hard getting hurt with absolutely no help from the AI wingman that I have. So let's get in here. It's going to take a little bit of time for us to get them to hit us, so bear with me. It's probably going to be the better part of the next minute or two. And then we'll get our wings all shot up and we'll be able to show you the damage model. All right, so quite a number of people. Oh, there goes Warlord, I'm sure. Let's try to just even the score so I can keep it to me getting damaged and not blown up. Yeah, it sounds sick that I'm trying to do this, right? Really trying to show you this ship. All right, so right now I'm getting into this endless turning fight, which is very bad because this ship does not maneuver like this. The ship is heavy and I really should just be flying it in a straight line, trying to get out and turning it back around, but it really doesn't even have any speed either. The two TR2s definitely are just not enough to push the ship the way that you would want. There we go. We're able to get one out. And really, I just wanted to thin out the pack a little bit. Just take down a couple. But right about here, I should be getting hurt. Or maybe in the next... No, it's not here. It's going to be in another... Just a little bit longer. Come on, take this mother out. There we go. All right, we've thinned out the pack enough now, and we should be able to get ourselves hurt. Now, at that point, you saw that shaking. Look at this. This guy's attached to me. That was just nuts. So we flew into either the wreck of our of Warlord, or we were carrying around one of the dead carcasses of the... oh, we got killed again, and he didn't. He did not give us an opportunity to go in. All right, we might have to take out another one to be able to get this done right. But that was really cool how the spaceship was shaking like that. And when you looked at the outside, there was actually another spaceship hanging off of it. That was just cool. I don't know if that's ever happened to anyone else, but I've played this game quite a bit, and that's the first time that that's ever happened to me. All right, let's point this thing over here, and I got to use a lot of fuel because that velocity vector did take a little bit to come around, and I didn't want to hit this particular rock. I want to get hurt the real way by getting shot, not by hitting a rock. And it should be coming. Come on, guys. You can do it. There should be a guy behind me. There it goes. And he just hit me, and that took out my... Yep, there it is. That is wonderful. All right, now we could look at the outside of the ship, and the ship is starting to fly exactly like I think it should. It's really, really, really hard to control, and it's kind of squirrely. And when we look at it from the outside in a few minutes, we really do have to take a look at it. There it is. Let's take a look at the outside. You can see all of the framework of the ship, and that bothered me at first until I thought about, well, that's 1,000 years in the future. They could be using nanotubing or, nano-created struts and framing, and that's why you see it. And maybe the plasma weapon melted off all the polycarbon that was on top. Who knows? But still, nonetheless, the ship is out of control and very hard to maneuver. But if you were in a squadron and you were the one that just took a hit, and your squadron mates came to your rescue, you're not out of the fight for good. You're actually able in this ship to get your nose around and do everything you can not to fall through the border and fire it. Here we go. And kill and get a couple of kills while your ship is nothing more than a flying hulk of little bits and pieces. Well, that's all I wanted to show you for today's episode. I wanted to give you an idea of the flight model of this wonderful brand new ship that we have to fly. And of course, it's not brand new. We've had it in the hangar for quite some time, but brand new flyable ship, right? And for those of you that didn't get a chance to pick one up during the sale, don't fret. Those sales for the military ships that are part of the Frontier Protection Program, they come and go very often. And you'll probably be seeing one within the next 6 months, probably right around Veterans Day of next year, or hopefully around, not next year, next season in the fall, or hopefully closer to home, right around Armistice Day or Memorial Day. And I think that you will love this ship if you use it for what it's intended for. This is the bomber. This is the Y-wing of our universe, of the Star Citizen universe. And although firing the weapons look like the X-Wing, it is not a fighter. It is definitely heavily armored and heavily armed, but really made to take out those smaller capital vessels and not those light fighters. All right, take a look at the damage model one more time. It's actually pretty cool, right? And folks, that is the Anvil Aerospace Gladiator as we slip across the border and end our game in defeat. Thank you all for watching and listening and commenting. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button below. And please remember that there is a site to help support the show. It's Patreon, patreon.com/batgirl. Thank you all. And with that said, you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.